Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
And we're the hosts of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making Locked On Rays your first listen every day. And remember, Locked On Rays is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube at Locked On Rays. Also, be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Rays. And you can email us anytime, lockedonrays@gmail.com. We do welcome mailbag questions, comments, and inquiries regarding the Tampa Bay Rays, baseball in general. The lockout, if you so choose. I've read that both sides are continuing to meet, so that's a good sign. Although I get bored by the minutia and the back and forth. Like I can only take so many Evan Drellick tweets before it's like, okay, I'm done. But just call me when the deal is agreed upon and ratified, and we can get baseball going, please.
Well, you're gonna have to be a patient man, because that's not happening anytime soon. And number two, if we ever meet Evan Drellich, I'm gonna tell him that you do not like his tweets. You do not like the frequency of his tweets. You do not like the content of his tweets. I will be sure to say that to Evan Drellich.
It would be misrepresentative and a mischaracterization of what I said, but sure, go ahead and do that if you so choose.
Cut, paste, clip, send.
It's more a negative viewpoint and thought of the bickering between the owners and the players union, and Drellich just has to report on it as opposed to reporting on other baseball related issues and problems that may go on.
And they're going to keep going on. I don't see how this gets solved in a week. I really do not. I don't know if you feel the same way, if you feel as negative about it as I am, but I just don't see a 162 game being played.
Yeah, I think season's going to be between 140, 150. And I would think maybe the lower end of that, 144, 146, something around that benchmark.
You do not want to know where I am at right
What are you thinking, like 100 games, 120?
I think 120, man. I think they both know that they got in this and they were going to lose games. They're willing to do so. They just had a couple of years ago a 60-game schedule where the players know what they received. Mm-hmm. And so they were like, okay, can we make it on that salary? And then the owner said, okay, this is how much money we lost.
Yeah.
Can we make it up? And I think they both have said, you know what? Yeah. A month of baseball loss? Sure.
Right.
5-6 weeks? Sure. So that gives me 120.
And quite frankly, I wouldn't mind 120. I would love a Major League Baseball season, year in, year out, 120 games, expanded playoffs, universal DH. Give me all of that. I'm okay with it.
See, that's the thing.
You add in spring training, that's 150 right there. Add in the playoffs, that's still a lot of baseball that you're enjoying.
It is. The problem with it is that not all of those are going to come. And so that's where we get to one of our biggest disagreements with expanded playoffs, which is, you want to explain the playoffs because you also want a shortened season, which I think that is the right way to do so.
Right.
But the problem is MLB won't do that. They instead will increase playoffs to 14 teams, which is a travesty, and then keep the 162 just for good measure. That's not what we want, and that's not what we need to grow the game.
You say that 14-team playoff is a travesty. Is it because it should be 16 or 18 teams?
Oh, gross. Dude, when you look at stuff like, a team with 83 wins could be in the playoffs.
Right.
Then 162 doesn't make sense. So make it make sense.
I mean, we've seen teams that win 86 games in the regular season win the World Series.
Sure, but 86 ain't 83. Like, you have to have a cutoff point. And the cutoff point is division winners, and then the best two, the wild cards. Sure.
Okay. We are going to talk about Chris Archer because that was supposed to be the topic leading into this, but you've got me going on a little bit of a rabbit hole here. What would you rather see? What would you rather have? 162 game regular season with no expanded playoffs like it is.
Okay.
But all games, all regular season games until you get to the playoffs are 7 innings. Or 120 game season 9-inning ball games with the expanded playoffs, say 14 teams?
I would take the latter, but then again, it's tough because that's why you play a long season. Like, that's the whole shtick about baseball. It's 162 games. Like, that's the shtick.
Yeah.
That's like saying, oh, well, we're going to play now 40 games of football. Like, it doesn't, like, that's not the sport.
Okay, but can't you
These guys
figure
are
out
daily grind? And 120 is fine. I'm okay with the 120.
129 innings.
Sure. But the problem that I see with that is that then how are you going to reward the 120-day grind or game grind? Are you going to give division winners anything? Not to be a biased Rays fan, but last year we saw a team with 100 wins,
right,
just get as many playoff games at home as a team like the Red Sox in that same series had. And they didn't win the division.
Yeah.
Stop hampering division winners.
Well, I also think that
wild cards should not get to host a first round divisional play in now. There's no way.
Yeah. Now, expanded playoffs in my mind doesn't just mean more teams in the playoffs. It also means longer series. That's what I would like to see.
So expanding the wild card from 1 game to 3 games,
and expanding the division series to best of 7.
That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea.
Again, if you're going to play 162, what are we doing here? Now we're like
changing the rules by having the whole season play series and then like 1 game.
It's seriously like, I mean, I don't have my math correct here, but like in the NFL, you play 60 minutes for a ball game. That's your game right there. Like it would be like, okay, we get to the playoffs. Our games are 5 minutes now.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
Instead of
you play 1 quarter.
Yeah. And maybe not even that. Like it's crazy, quite frankly. So,
man,
God,
you can get it.
Can we just get baseball back already?
This is why it's so frustrating. And that's why we're not doing labor pods, people.
Yes.
Because I mean, we're doing them, but
we don't want to do them.
But it's just so frustrating because what we like to talk about is actual baseball stuff that happens within the lines and the surrounding atmosphere and what could be in the trades and all of this. Why do I need to know now? I feel like I'm a hobby lawyer trying to keep up with these labor talks on the CBT and the CBA and the 214 million threshold to 216.
Yeah, and quite frankly, I don't think anybody, like, unless you're a hardcore baseball fan and this is all your focus is, then you're getting into the weeds there. But I think average sports fans, like, yeah, I don't care. I'm not paying attention to any of this until, like, call me when spring training starts. Okay, it starts March 20th. All right, I'll be there. I'll have my tickets ready. I'll be taking my family there. It's only the people on Twitter that are really getting involved in back and forth, because I just, again, nothing against Evan Drell. I just can't. It's boring to just see the back and forth and like no movement. Okay, this side made an offer. Now the other side's going to tweak it. Now they're going to come back. Like, I don't care at this point, really. I just want to watch baseball. And I guess we will at some point, because aren't minor leaguers not on the 40-man going to be reporting to quote unquote spring training? Minor
league ball is happening. College ball is happening. So we still get our fix for baseball. Maybe not the one that we want to, but if you want to see the grand old game of baseball, it's out there already. Yeah. If you're a college fan, and minor leagues is coming. Another guy that you could possibly see in a Rays uniform is Chris Archer. But before we talk about that, Kevin, I need to talk to you about Built Bars. You know what Built Bars are?
Delicious and healthy.
Yes, delicious and healthy. And you know why? Because they're delicious. They have 100% real chocolate covered all over the Built Bar. So that's why it's delicious, and it's healthy because most Built Bars are 130 calories, 4 grams sugar, 4 net carbs, 17 grams of protein. When you compare that to, let's say, any old regular candy bar, well, Built Bars are just built better. See what I did there?
Hey, very, very clever.
Thank you very much. So what you need to do today, if you're listening to this episode, is go to built.com. You use promo code LOCKED15, and guess what? You get 15% off your order. I'll say it till I'm blue in the face like my background. Go to built.com, use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com.
Question, Ulises, before we get into a little Chris Archer discussion here, do you have any plans to buy the new Tampa Bay Rays spring training ball cap, the new era ball cap that was released for ranging from $36 to $44, give or take?
I will not. I'm not gonna buy any MLB stuff until this stuff is figured out. So
yeah,
and I probably won't buy that one. No.
Yeah, and $44 for that hat. That hat is highway robbery. I'm sorry.
And honestly,
New Era needs to step up its game because it had that weird area code thing going on.
They're trying too hard. Like it's not that difficult to make, a good hat. I have many hats, and now I don't even buy them anymore.
Yeah, you have a lot. You have an expansive hat collection, and you've paid more than $44 for a hat. Actually,
well, this is the thing, though. I've stopped buying them because now people know that I like to collect hats, so that's an easy Christmas or birthday gift for me, and I'll take it.
The only hat
I don't even remember the last time I actually bought a hat.
Wow.
I know, I've been very spoiled.
The 98ers hat?
Yes, perhaps. 2020. Yes,
yeah, that was the last, because I'm not a hat wearer, but that was the hat that just for historic sake and just because of the cool design, and I think Ace Clothing or whatever. It's not good that I forgot the name of the company, but the company that makes the 98ers gear, t-shirts, hats, like it was like, okay, I've got to have that in the moment. And I was willing to pay whatever it cost to get that thing. And I still have it. So anyway, all right. Chris Archer, a guy who is not throwing 98 miles per hour anytime soon, is a free agent looking for a job post lockout per Mark Topkin, our buddy. Archer says he is feeling good and throwing well with a Twitter video of a recent workout in Tampa showing him hitting 93 miles per hour on the radar gun.
Yeah, it might not be 98, but 93 in early February? Okay.
Late February.
Okay.
Or I guess that video came out. I don't know when that video came out exactly, but
maybe
in the offseason.
No, offseason. That's nice. 3-pitch mix, slider, changeup, fastball. It's good. Look, before we talk about what could be, let's not forget what was. And what was $6.5 million for 19 and a third innings.
Yeah.
With numbers very pedestrian. 4.66 ERA, a 4.26 FIP, 9.6 walk rate, 25.3 strikeout rate. Okay. So I know he's very beloved in the fandom. He really is. But since 2018, he hasn't had a year where he's actually had sizable innings. In 2018, he had 149. That's the best since 2018. That's 3 years removed, 19, 20, 21.
Right.
And he's only getting older. He's 33 this season. That means his 30s have not been that kind to him.
Yeah.
Having said all of that, what's the actual question? Do I want to see him in a Rays uniform? Do I think he is approached by the Rays? What's the question?
I think the question is, given his health history, let's remember thoracic outlet syndrome procedure, then that hip issue following that, and the lack thereof of innings and the production not quite there. I'm curious to see. Look, I think we can go ahead and eliminate 2 teams that Chris Archer will be in consideration for. I don't think the Rays are going after him again, and I don't think the Pirates are going after him again. So that leaves 28 teams. So my question, Ulises, is will Chris Archer land an MLB contract in 2022? Not a invite to spring camp, but an MLB contract. Major league deal here.
I can't believe that he wouldn't get an offer for even if it's the bleeping Orioles. Like, honestly, what do they have? John Means?
Well, I think
Lyles, and then
look,
the Kramer. I didn't even
Dean
remember.
Kramer. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, their team sucks. We know that their team's awful. But I think the purpose of signing him is, first off, we need guys that can maybe give us some innings. Second off, let's get a veteran guy who's been in the league for a decade who can bring the Grayson Rodriguez along and some of our other it's that veteran player coach mold. And if you get some production for him, great.
Exactly. So yes, I do think he'll land a major league contract.
Okay.
And to answer my hypothetical Kevin Weiss question, I do see that the Rays could be in the play for Chris Archer
on a major league deal, though.
On a major league deal,
really?
And I will tell you why. Because just like it happened with Asdrubal Cabrera, we talked about that on the last episode, and maybe a potential Tommy Pham and Nelson Cruz. This offseason is going to be quite odd once the lockout ends.
Yeah.
So guys can filter through the cracks, and a guy like Chris Archer who I believe owns property in the Tampa Bay area.
He loves the area. He loves St. Pete. He loves the restaurants and the scene and the lifestyle, for sure.
Well, guess what? If nobody's really coming along and maybe the Orioles ask, hey, okay, can you get a $3 million deal to go to Baltimore? And the Rays come in like, hey, can you come here for $1.5 million?
You think they would even still, after basically wasting $6.5 million, they have continuing to throw money at this guy?
But they have the most recent information on him.
Yeah, that he got hurt all the time.
They have it.
And his numbers, like his underlying numbers, are not good whatsoever.
They're pedestrian, and I think that's the best way of qualifying them right now.
Here's my counter argument. The Rays have enough pitchers on the 40-man roster that are injured or recovering from injury. Nick Anderson, Jalen Beeks, Yanni Chirinos, Tyler Glasnow, Brendan McKay, Colin Pache, Jeffrey Springs, Ryan Thompson, Matt Whistler. You want to create room for another guy that you have major question marks about?
100%. I see all the negatives. Yet again, would not surprise me if Chris Archer picks up the phone and Neander's on the other line. For a minor league deal, spring camp invite, but I don't know about a major league contract. I'm telling you, like I feel like a guy like Archer, there's just a certain hierarchy and unwritten rules of baseball. And I think one of them is if you just paid that guy $6.5 million last year, he can take a pay cut. Yeah. But he ain't gonna take like a minor league deal, like at 33. Like I don't see that happening. It would surprise me. It would surprise me to have his pedigree, although showing very big cracks, not get one major league contract. That would be very surprising to me. There's more that I want to get to on this Chris Archer debate, but first we have to tell you about BetOnline. Football might be over for this season, but basketball is in full steam for both pro and college hoops. From all the latest odds, totals, player performance props to where the next fired coach is going to land, BetOnline.net is the number one spot for all your sports betting needs. BetOnline remains the best spot for all your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. And it's not just basketball. BetOnline.net is your source for hockey, boxing, and UFC odds, right to the Olympic coverage and information. So be sure to head over to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. BetOnline, it is where the game starts. I do have to clarify my position. That you don't actually want the Rays to sign Chris Archer. Okay, so we know that that's not what I want. Okay, good. Because it started to sound that way a little bit. Okay, good. That's why I wanted to. I do not think that it would be the right thing to do for the Rays in the 2022 season to go sign Chris Archer. I do not think so. Having said that, it would not surprise me if the Rays say, can we get some petroleum out of this old well still? But wouldn't they be better off just trying to bring back a
Colin McHugh, a Chaz Rowe, even Adam Conley, David Robertson.
Money.
David Robertson's going to command more than Chris Archer.
I like David Robertson. You're going on my camp. I liked what Houdini did for the race.
Here's my point. I think there's a lot of other options out there. Think about there's already, I just rattled off how many Rays free agents, Rays free agents there are. Let alone how many in the entire marketplace, how many starting pitchers and relievers there are. About 60 of them.
Yeah.
That were more productive.
Yeah.
And brought more to the table than Chris Archer.
This would be a good prop bet. Will Chris Archer get a major league deal offer? Yes or no?
Oh, should we go ahead and put it on the board?
I like it.
Now, timeline. Is this before the season starts? Or sometime during 2022, because that is where.
Because again, this offseason, this lockout thing is going to be a lot of guys that will get major league contracts won't get a major league contract by opening day.
Yeah, because there's going to, of course, as always, be a lot of pitching injuries.
In fact, it's not that. Of course, it's going to happen like that because Alex Cobb didn't sign until like spring training was like halfway over with the Orioles.
Right.
So in a normal year, he was late. So in this crazy 2022, there are going to be guys that sign major league contracts after opening day.
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, there's teams that have to go to the independent ranks to sign a guy because they're hurting for pitchers.
Yes.
But I will play devil's advocate or be on the opposite side here. If you say that Chris Archer will land an MLB contract for 2022, is that your answer? Yes, he will?
Yeah.
I'll say no. I'll say no.
So this means that if he signs with a team and it's to go to the minor leagues, you win this.
Yes.
Okay.
It's got to be a major league deal.
Okay.
Fair enough?
Fair enough.
Let me also say this about that video. I think it's great that Chris Archer, he's made $30 million in his career. He's absolutely past his prime. He had that good 5-6 year run. In his early mid-20s, that's where the game is going. Hey, you better get it done in your early mid-20s. And then
good for him for signing that deal. Wasn't that smart, Kevin?
That was very...
for all the Twitter heads saying, oh my gosh, why not play it through arbitration? Why are you leaving money on the table?
I'm going to wait 6 years.
Yeah.
Never say no to your first millions. Evan Longoria, I think. Or was that Kevin Kiermaier?
Evan Longoria told that to Kevin Kiermaier.
Yeah.
And who was told by Eric Hinsky.
And then I'm sure Kevin Kiermaier has told that to other guys as well. But so I appreciate that Chris Archer, I'm sure he's not hurting for money. He wants to continue. He loves the sport, obviously, that he's continuing to go out and do what he's doing. But I get a little bit leery of the Twitter video. Oh, this guy looks good he threw 3 pitches that we saw. Were those his 3
with
best
a nice little overlay?
Yeah. Were those his 3 best pitches of 1,000 that he threw during the week? Moreover, I would have to look at the metrics a little bit more, but it looked like all those pitches were pretty straight and in about the same location. I didn't see oh man, that was a nasty slider. Wow, look at the tail on that changeup. Man, that fastball with the spin. They all just look like straight pitches with a little bit of MPH differential. It did not. And I think if you look at the underlying metrics at how hard he was hit, how often he was hit hard, I think there's not much there as of right now.
But see, that's the thing. There's not much right there if you think of Chris Archer, of utilizing him as if it were 2015. If I were in a front office and if I had the chance to see him healthy and see that he's throwing his pitches and he's got a nice 3-pitch mix, as a Rays fan, I'd be, you know what? I'm going to turn you into Wade Davis 2012.
Yeah.
You're going to go out there for 2 innings when we need you, like Colin McHugh type guy without the moving up and down through the innings. I would have him after the 6, 7, 8, 6, 7, 8, 5, 6, 7, maybe 2 innings when you need somebody. 2 innings, boom, that's your Archer. Give him a rest for a couple of days. Boom, 2 innings again. That's how I think you can get the most value out of an archer. Now, is he willing to do that? Or is Chris saying, no, I can still be a major league starter? The innings count does not say that.
Yeah.
The innings count and the injury history tells me you might not be able to crack 80. So can we redefine who you are? Can we make you into another player? And I think that's the question here. Yeah. Can you utilize Chris Archer in a different way to still get value out of him? And of course, if Mike Zunino took a pay cut to return to the Rays, why wouldn't Chris Archer do that when he has way more money than Mike Zunino has way more foundation now in the Tampa Bay area than Mike has? And from what he has said about the Pirates organization, and then when he left, like, he really liked it here.
Yeah.
He really liked the people. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Rays come at him with this plan of making him a 2-inning reliever type guy and say, this is how we think that you're going to be more successful with the 3-pitch mix. 50 innings this year for $2 million. I can definitely buy into that premise.
Yes, if he wasn't dealing with all the injuries that he was dealing with in the downslope. Like, I didn't even mention Corey Kluber. That's another guy that you've got question marks about. Like, if we're just talking about, hey, bring a guy, have him throw 50, 60 innings, let's just do
off the pile, the springs, the beaks. Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, just do the find your next Lewis Head, find your next John Curtis.
But we're not in that front office, and we're not really adept at the untangibles, the intangibles.
Right.
The Choi effect.
Yeah.
Does Archer have?
But how much is that? Is that worth continuing to throw millions after a guy with his?
Maybe. I wouldn't. Again, I don't think the Rays should follow this path. I wouldn't be surprised if they do.
Man,
I know.
You bring up a good argument. I don't think it happens. I don't think so
either.
But I would think it'd be more likely if the Rays didn't have like 10 guys that are 10 pitchers that are rehabbing from injury that we don't know about.
And not even, but there's a 40-man roster crunch and
that's the other thing. You got to who are you dropping off to create a spot for this guy?
When you can find a guy who's selling solar panels and then just be like, oh, what? He's actually a really good reliever.
Yeah.
Why would you spend $2 million? I understand that. Again, would not be surprised.
We put it on Twitter. Will former Rays pitcher Chris Archer land an MLB contract for 2022? And it is very divided. 48.4% of the voting populace say yes, he will.
Oh, wow.
51.6% say no, he won't.
Wow.
We got some comments here. Ty McCann says, I wonder if the Pirates could use some starting pitching. Of course they could. They're the Pirates, for God's sakes. Austin Holloway says, in my opinion, his only path back to the bigs is as a reliever and not with the Rays and not for $6.5 million. Yeah, I don't even think he's getting half that. Now, again,
I don't think so either. And I think Chris knows that.
He better know that. I mean, if he wants to, he's going to really have to lower his offer if he wants to get a deal quickly after the next CBA is decided upon. But again, I'm taking no on the prop bet, or I'm voting no on that prop bet. That's my pick. But I also could see it in the realm of possibility that a team like the Orioles go after him, or a team like even the Athletics. Like, hey, we're going to be trading some of our veterans
for
the
Rockies. There are so many bad. The Arizona Diamondbacks,
just bad. But again, then he's just going to have a bad experience.
Does it matter when they're paying you $3 million, $4 million?
I mean, he didn't seem to be having fun with the Pirates, and he was making how much money with the Pirates?
That's true. But again, like, these guys love the game. They don't want to do anything but play the game. So you have to squeeze all of the talent and skill that you have as long as you have it.
Good point. Well, we're wishing Chris Archer the best, but
yes,
who knows what happens. I'm sure there'll be more on that story. I just don't, I'm not going to go crazy over what I considered a relatively subpar Twitter video. I'll just put it like that. All right. Thank you for listening to the Locked On Rays podcast. Now make your second listen, the Locked On Bets podcast. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you on Friday.